I think you're getting a bit too hung up on this 10 seconds, 30 seconds thing. Yeah, don't worry about it. Darts for 2025. We are also now streaming live on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. I'm Ian Danter, Scott Mitchell, Scotty Dog, former PDC professional, is alongside me here in the commentary box. We've got Abigail Davies with us as well this evening. Abby will be joining Scott for match 2 of our 4 quarterfinals. That'll be Gerwyn Price against Luke Littler, which will be second up. First up, though, will be Luke Humphries against Stephen Bunting. And yeah, there's concern for Bunty, Scott Mitchell, with the fact that he's bottom of the pile, but he ran Rob cross close on night 1. It was 6-4 in the end in that first round tie. It's just last week where he really didn't do himself any justice, losing 6-1.
And this Premier League format is very cutthroat. You know, we've seen how Bunting's been doing on the Pro Tours. He's making last 32s, last 16s, you know, and he's doing that sort of consistently so far in the first 4. So he has had 1 first round loss, but that was, you know, he's been doing 97 averages and losing in the first round. He has a target on his back now for the rest of the 120 outside the Premier League. They all have.
Yeah.
They all have, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
And Nathan Aspinall, you know, trying to get himself up the order of merit as well at the same time as the travails he's got trying to get off the bottom rung of the Premier League ladder. He's got ranking points to try and find.
Yeah, very much so. You know, Nathan came in with a bit of a cloud above his head about how he got in and why people thought he was in. I think, you know, they were looking to boost the numbers. His walk-on is great. You know, this isn't a ranking tournament, so I think as a business module you can understand why he was put in. But now he's got to go and show why he should be there, and I think at times he's trying too hard and feeling the pressure a little bit.
Well, Nathan will be up third against Rob Cross, but we're about to have the walk-ons for the first quarter-final. You can hear the Master of Ceremonies, John McDonald, just warming the crowd up. Not that they need warming up. There's 9,000 darts mad fans inside the 3 arena tonight. And Stephen Bunting is at the end of the walkway, ready to make his entrance. And if any entrance could match Nathan Aspinall's Mr. Brightside entrance, it will be this one. For the Bullet, one of the most popular men on the circuit, a world champion with the BDO before he switched to the PDC. And he knows about the Premier League, but it's been a while since he's been involved in it. 10 years away. But his form on the order of merit in the last 12 months fully justifies his inclusion. But he's got to get off the mark, and he's got to make a good start against the man he's up against tonight in the world number 1.
No, absolutely. He has absolutely proved that he should be there. There is no doubt over why Stephen is in this bunch of 8. He had a super 2024. And here we go. I don't know whether you can hear it through your mics, but we've got Stephen up there on stage, conducting to the orchestra, which is the crowd singing his walk-on song. I think Stephen, in my time that I've known him, has had a fair few walk-on songs, but I think this is the one that works for him. And I think we've seen that he wants to stick with this one, and because the reaction he gets from every single fan when it comes on.
Well, I seem to remember it was Surfing Bird that he came out to for a while because of the likeness he has to Family Guy's Peter Griffin. But that soon changed. Just shaking hands with the officials on the stage. And now we await the introduction from John McDonald for the former world champion and world number 1. on the cusp of becoming the first darts player to top £2 million in earnings. What a story this has been for Cool Hand Luke, who since darts came back from the pandemic has been on one hell of an ascent to greatness, winning the World Championship, still world number one, only losing this year's World Championship final to Luke Littler, and he's now conducting the Dublin crowd to the Kaiser Chiefs. Big Leeds United fan, Luke Humphries will have been delighted with that last-minute winner for Pascal Strike against Sunderland on Monday night, live on talkSPORT 2. Named Luke by his dad, Leeds United Kings of Europe. Managed to get that past Luke's mum without her realising what he was doing. Very clever.
Yeah, nicely done. And as you can hear through, it's still going on. We know that Luke used to come out to Cake by the Ocean and stuff, but he's changed to this since being world champion, and it obviously works for him. You can see, those that can't see a TV now, he's actually gone back conducting to the audience once more. Maybe we'll see these guys at the Albert Hall one time.
Yeah, well, perhaps. Very relaxed, both players. So, Luke Humphries, who's reached the final in Glasgow and won the final in Belfast, made a really good start, top of the shop. He's won 35 legs so far, has this very front-on style where his right big toe is up against the oche. He doesn't put his foot side on to the oche like most dart players do. Very chest-on style. Bunty, who always stands to the right-hand corner of the oche, using a much heavier dart than the incredibly light darts he was known for using for many years. I think he's gone up 10 grams in weight in terms of his darts. And Stephen has won the all-important bullseye backstage, so he will get us underway. Remember, it's the first to 6 legs from 5:01 in the Premier League format, and Bunty immediately looking downstairs for treble 17. Hugh Ware, our referee, you can hear calling out the scores, and Humphries straight in with a ton to take an early advantage in leg 1.
Yeah, indeed. Bunting, I met Bunting when he was 13 or 14 playing for Merseyside at a county game, and it was his first ever game playing against Dorset, and I think he had something like a 97 average in the B, and then the next day they put him up as a 13-year-old to the A, and he did a mere 94 that day, and we thought, wow, this guy is going somewhere. And that's 25 years ago, more or less, to the day. So yeah, Stephen's been around a long time.
One of the most popular men on the circuit. He's coming up dry with visits though, 60 with that visit, whilst Humphries is already half a dart ahead, but he only pops in a 57 there. He's down to a finish though of 170 after 9. Bunting after 9 back on 286 less this visit. Coming downstairs to treble 19, but drops into treble 7 next door. Readjusts well for the final dart, but he's not on a finish. 170 won't go for Luke.
Yeah, and the crowd you could hear in the background not very happy that he didn't manage to hit that first treble 20. So Bunting now back on 188, so Humphries is on 36.
Well, it's going to be double 18 for a 13 dart break for Luke Humphries. He's well outside, he's a good inch outside the bed. He's a bit closer on the wire, but he makes it count for a 15 dart break of throw in leg 1 for Luke Humphries, and already Stephen Bunting is behind.
Yeah, absolutely he is, and I remember seeing interviews with Luke recently talking about how he became the player that he was, and he said he just changed darts. He changed from some different shaped dart to this one, and all of a sudden he started hitting everything, and off he went. And maybe that's the reason that Peter Wright keeps changing darts. He's trying to find something else, but Luke found it. He's never changed the darts. It's still the same, very same darts he uses now. And yeah, why would you change them? You'd be daft, wouldn't you?
One problem that Luke Humphries has got is that the flights he uses are in very short supply, I'm told. And he doesn't tend to throw the flights out to audience members at the end of games because he's trying to preserve them, because I don't think he knows where he can get any more.
Oh, come on. If you're Luke Humphries, you're nearly on £2 million in the price. Come on.
No, I just don't think they make them anymore.
Somebody's got a couple of quid. Somebody will make them or try to replicate them and make a pound out of it, surely.
There's a psychological aspect to this as well.
Very much so. I've always used pink flights, and if I put a white one in there, the dart just feels like an alien dart. So I can understand exactly where he's coming from, but there must be somebody out there. I think that particular brand of dart, maybe the company don't make them anymore, but
yeah,
you would have thought they might have made a couple now that Luke's maybe asked nicely.
I'm sure he would ask nicely. He's a very pleasant chap. Bunting trying to get down from 180 to a finish with Humphries on 114 to go 2 legs to the lovely 140, leaving him on top. So Humphries to hold throw wants 114. Treble 20, 14 for double top. Just underneath. And so Bunty can now break back here, Scott.
Yeah, berates himself a little bit there, Humphries, because he knows that this is a big chance for Bunting.
On the wire. But right in the top left-hand corner with Dart 2. 2 breaks of throw to get us going on night 3 here on talkSPORT 2 at the Premier League Darts in Dublin. And Bunty will feel a whole lot better after that.
The game of darts can be won in moments. It can be game-changing moments within a game. There can be 2 or 3, or sometimes there's just the one. And as a player, when there's one moment that changes the game where you maybe have made a mistake, that's the hardest to accept. If it happens 2 or 3 times, you don't over-berate yourself, but after the game. But if you lose and you've made one mistake, you can drag that round in a rucksack on your back and allow it to drag you down over a few weeks, and the next thing you're in all sorts of trouble. So Luke mustn't allow himself to do that at this moment. He's been around a while now, and he's been at the very top of his game for the last 1.5 to 2 years.
First max of the night goes in from cool hand.
Yeah, and the first 2 nights, we've had 86 180s during this tournament already in just the first 2 nights. It's just a phenomenal standard.
And everybody's been averaging over 90. Bunty is the lowest average going into tonight, of a 3-dot average of 93. But as I mentioned in the introduction, a lot of that average being slightly lower than the others because he's just not got his doubling right during the course of these early stages. So 190 left for Bunting, 2 treble 20s, and he goes for a treble 18, hits single. Humphries to break again, wants 138 here.
Yeah, go 2 treble 19s. He's missed the first one above, missed the second one below, and then smacked the treble 20s, smack in the face. So he's set himself on 40, pressuring the Bunting throw again. He's on 52. He's gone 20 route for the double 16, inside the double 16, now just outside the double 8. So he now offers an opportunity to be broken to Humphries.
And he's inside top, so down for double 10 on the wire outside. 1 dart left in hand. And he finds it just like he found double 18 with the last dart in leg 1, and 3 breaks of throw in this first quarter-final in Dublin. Luke Humphries 2-1 up in a race to 6 on talkSPORT 2.
Yeah, we shouldn't have been surprised there. Humphries has got checkout stats of 53.43% for the tournament so far in the first 2 weeks. And if you want to equate that in numbers, he's gone for 66 times, 66 darts at a double, and he's hit it 35 times. You know, anything over 50% is absolutely top draw and world class.
He's been regularly averaging in the hundreds. He's had at least 300 plus averages, 3 of them in the top 10, including 106 against Chris Dobey last week in Glasgow in that quarter-final. And Chris pushed him all the way in that one. That was 6-4. Yeah, Bunty a bit wayward, treble 7 when he was aiming for 19s.
You mentioned those averages. The top 10 averages have come from 3 players within this Premier League. MVG, Mr. Humphries here, and Luke the Littler. So, these 3 guys, I can see, if we're not careful over the next few weeks, they could make a gap down to 4th place.
Bunty from 340 needs a max and gets a max to pressurise the Humphries throw. He's down to a finish of 160. Chance for another break of throw here early on in Dublin. But Humphries from 180 puts 2 treble 20s in and then just casually aims for single 20 to leave himself on tops. I would suggest this has got to go from Bunting.
It's all about the first start here from Bunting. He has to hit the 60, and because he stands from so far over to the right-hand side, he throws across the one, and that one dropped into the one in the bottom corner there, and it's just dampened the atmosphere for a bit.
So he's left on 120, Bunting, but Humphries to go 3-1 up once tops, half an inch above. Right on the money with dart 2. So it's 3-1 to Cool Hand Luke. And Bunting once again finds himself under pressure in a Premier League quarter-final here on talkSPORT 2. We're also on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel throughout the night. Myself and Scott Mitchell and Abigail Davies will be joining Scott for our second quarter-final, which is Gerwyn Price against Luke Littler. The third quarter-final will be Rob Cross against Nathan Aspinall, and then to round off the quarters, Michael van Gerwen against Chris Dobey. So Bunty needing to strike back, or at least hold his throw here. Good cover on treble 19, not once but twice from the bullet.
Yeah, absolute brilliance there from Stephen, and being at 3-1 down, those things aren't easy to do. When you're 3-1 up, they're really easy to do these things. But when you're behind, to then start hitting double, treble visits, when you absolutely desperately need them, is not an easy thing to do, and he's finding it. He's hit another first treble 20, and then a third dart in the treble 20 for a 140. He is not going away here, the bullet.
We only have to look back to last week and Luke Littler being 5 legs to 1 down to Rob Cross, and seemingly going for an early bath up in Scotland, and then rallied to win 6-5 with an extraordinary comeback. So rule nothing out. 1-3-2 bull double 16. He's hit the one bull, Bunty, but it's 25, so he comes down to the 17s.
And he won't mind that with Humphries being back on 2-6-5. So Bunting is set on tops to make it go 3-2, and then he will look to pressure the Humphries throw and try and get parity in this game. But he has to hit this tops if it's going to start.
Just half an inch above from Bunting, but there it is. 3-2, so he holds throw, but Humphries has the crucial break. He's halfway to the semi-finals, the world number 1. 3-2 he leads.
Just to describe that tops, that was like down the dog and duck. 1 up, 1 in was the shout from the bar. And that's exactly how he placed it.
There speaks the man of experience.
I've been to the dog and duck once or twice, yeah.
Yeah.
Been to the Hare and Hounds as well.
It's a while since I've been in there. Kings Heath High Street. Great little live venue. Now, Luke Humphries taps the end of the oche with his right big toe. Many dart players do that as a little superstition as they approach the oche. Just tap the oche with their toe before they settle.
And there is a reason for that. When you play in other tournaments, the oche is obviously not so fixed to the floor in a makeshift tournament, so sometimes the oche can just slide away an inch from the back wall. So you just toe it up to the back wall, make sure it's all at the right distance, then you can play your best darts. And it's obviously become habit, and the one that started it was Gary Anderson. So Gary Anderson would go and push his foot onto the top of the oche, step back. You see Johnny Clayton do it, you see a few do it now.
Yeah. 1-2-4 Humphries, but Bunty trying to come down from 308 on 18s. Picks off a 1-2-6, so he's not onto a finish. So Humphries to go 4-2 up, 124, 104 left, so treble 18 would lead ball, but he doesn't need to go for it with Bunting back on 182, and he lays up instead to leave himself on double 16.
Bunting, all he can do now is pressure the shot. 1 in the treble 20, 2 in the treble 20, 62 left. Yes, they're asking him to go for the treble 20 again and leave double 1, but he didn't. Comes out and hits the treble 10 perfectly. So both players now on 32. It's Humphries to throw first, and you don't let a former world champion throw first.
4-2 the lead for Humphries with that crucial break of throw. We've had 3 breaks in the first 3 legs, and Bunting starts leg 7. It's a race to 6 in each of these 7 matches tonight. £10,000 prize for the nightly winner. As we head around the UK, we had Belfast and Glasgow. Here we are in the Republic of Ireland. Exeter next week at the Exeter Arena, just before the FA Cup of Darts. The UK Open takes place at nearby Minehead. Draw for that was made today, and that is an extraordinary tournament, the UK Open. So many great stories from that in recent times. Andrew Gilding being one that sticks in my mind as a really, really interesting winner.
Yeah, Andy, one of my dart barrel teammates, sponsored by the same people. Such a great guy, Andy. Very quiet, very unassuming, but has a very dry sense of humour. He's not one that goes out of his way to talk to anybody. If you go and actually approach him, he's a very approachable man.
Yeah, he does give off that sort of aloof vibe most of the time. Humphries down to a finish of 170 in this 7th leg. Bunty on throw, trying to get down to a 2-dart finish himself. And that'll do. Leaves himself on 80, but if Humphries reels in the big fish here, he's only one away. But the first dart drops into single one. Little wry smile from Humphries, knowing that the chance is gone, but then picks off 6 19s.
It's like he throws a bit of freedom then. He hasn't hit what he wanted, and he then just relaxes and goes bung bung, 2 treble 19s. And when you're stood behind as a player, that don't half get on your wick, I tell you.
Bunting wants 2 10s. That's a nice clutch finish from Stephen Bunting. Treble 20, double 10 to bring us back to 4-3. So Humphries back on throw in leg 8 here on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. Ian Danter, Scott Mitchell with you for this first quarter-final. Littler against Price up next. And Bunty in the red bit comes down to the treble 19s and only picks off a single, but he's half a dart ahead in this 8th leg.
Another thing I find interesting about the way these guys prepare for these Premier League nights in the weeks before. Super 180 there from Humphries. Luke Humphries played the first Pro Tour at Wigan, got to the semi-final, got beat by Joe Cullen 7-6. It was 105 to a 102 average, brilliant game. And then he hasn't played another one. He hasn't played one of the last 3 to prepare himself for the right nights. And he's won one, he's there, and he's been in a final. So you have to say that he's getting his preparation for these nights absolutely spot on.
Yeah. There's a few that went to Rosmalen in the week for the European events, and a few that stayed behind. Luke Littler being one that elected not to travel. Now Bunty trying to get down from 304. Humphries is already down to a finish after 9 of 122. Treble 18 is the first attempt. No, he goes for bull. 97 left, 57 leaves tops. Only just over the wire for a 1-2-2 finish from Luke Humphries. Bunting back on 208. Can't finish yet.
That 1-2-2 is a way it's starting to creep into the game. Using the bullseye first. Used to always be the treble 18 because you had another stab at the treble 18 to get a dart at the ball. Now players are thinking, hang on a minute, if I can hit that bullseye with the first dart, it opens up doors for me.
Humphries underneath top, so he's down for double 10. Pins it right in the centre of the bed. So 5-3 the lead for Luke Humphries. Only needs one more to advance to the semi-finals. So Bunty has now got to be pretty much perfect from this point on, and he needs at least a ton and 3 snatch darts that all land in small 20 underneath the red bit, sign of a tightening tricep muscle in the right arm.
Indeed, and they're just flashing up a stat where Bunting is above in the 100 plus scores, level in the 140 plus scores, and he's just 180 behind Humphries, but he's had a couple of chances that have gone begging on the outer ring, and that's what's cost him so much. Both running 100 average at this particular moment. 103 for Humphries and 101 for Bunting. A 180 for Bunting there on his own throw can't damage your chances.
But back comes Humphries. Just the second dart dips below the red bit, but 140 will do. Just keeps him slightly ahead after 6 darts apiece. 2-6-1 Bunting plays 2-2-4 Humphries. Humphries just needs one more leg to win this quarter-final, but a 140 from Bunting takes him down to a finish.
Yeah, massive last treble 20 there from Bunting to take him down to 1-2-1. Humphries back on 2-2-4, and that 140 leaves him 84, so all the pressure now on Bunting in this 1-2-1. Does he go the bullseye route? He's got to go treble 20 surely.
He's looking at the bullseye, hits 25, so 96 left. Treble 20 would have left double 18, gets treble 20 in the end, so he's down to double 8, but Humphries to win the match wants 84.
He'll go treble 20. It's now 14 for the ball. He misses the big 14. Got greedy, went for the treble 14 and hit the 11 on the inside. So Bunting now has a big chance to get back in this game at 5-4.
Just a hold throw this for Bunting, but double 8 it is, on the wire. Good marker, goes further away with dart 2. But dart 3 pins it, and he is still in the tie. 5-4 to Humphries, who now has the throw in leg 10.
He is the popular player here in Ireland. You can see that. The crowd are right behind Stephen. They're wanting this to go 5-5.
Well, they've not seen him for 10 years, have they?
A right smile. We haven't seen anybody match for 10 years. No. But picking there since we don't go to the City West anymore. But what a way to open the evening. This is a right old rip-up.
That's a nervous start to the 10th leg from both players, neither of whom hit a treble, but then Humphries regains his composure. 140. He thinks that should have been a 180. He's disappointed with that final dart. So Bunty from 4-4-1 needs to keep in touch with Humphries, if not try and get ahead. He needs a treble. He's put one above and one below the red bit and can't find one in the centre. So Humphries is about 70 points ahead and piling on the treble 20s here. Another 140 scored from the world number 1, edging towards a finish, and Bunty needs something massive here.
And he's doing it. 2 trebles with the first visit. It's a 140.
He was walking on dart 3. He was walking on dart 3.
He was, Dance, he was. It's the pressure of the situation.
Bounce out from Luke Humphries. Still scores 120, mind.
Yeah, he just smacked another one straight back in there, didn't he? That was a flight. It was a dart on dart out rather than the board causing that problem. He hit the first flight, didn't he? And it took all the pace off the dart going towards the board. And by the time it actually hit the board, it had no pace to hang on.
Bunty needs to get down to a finish. Humphries is lurking on 57 for the match. He'll have a go at that now. Bunting's on 107, so it's 17 for tops for the match for Luke Humphries. Oh, he's well underneath. Double 10. He's pinned it again. Pinned it earlier in the match. And by pinning it now, he's knocked out Stephen Bunting on night 3 in Dublin by 6 legs to 4. And Luke Humphries continues his serene progress in this year's Premier League. 1 win, 1 final defeat. And now he's got a semi-final in Dublin to look forward to. But for Stephen Bunting, it is still very much nul point in the Premier League table, Scott Mitchell.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate for him, we have to say. And we did mention it could be an issue for him going into next week at Exeter. It gets easier. He's got Luke Littler first game next week. So Stephen's got a bit of soul searching to do, but before that he's got the UK Open to deal with. So one disappointment comes and you've got to lift yourself up because he's away again at the weekend.
I'm mentioning Luke Littler. He is up next against Gerwyn Price. Abigail Davies will join Scott for commentary of that one, and we still have Rob Cross, Nathan Aspinall and Michael Van Gerwen, Chris Dobey as quarterfinals to bring you. But the first quarterfinal is done and the world number 1 is through. Luke Humphries beating Stephen Bunting by 6 legs to 4. You're listening to the Premier League Darts here on your home of darts on the radio, talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. And when it comes to the Darts Premier League, the last thing you want is an online mishap throwing you off your game. That's where NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro steps up to the hockey. Just think of it as your personal referee, keeping dodgy websites, malware and phishing scams from sneaking into your setup. It even blocks those pesky ads for you so you won't get distracted mid-leg. Go to nordvpn.com/dartsvpn and get 2 years plus 4 months free and a birthday deal. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Up next on the YouTube channel, Gerwyn Price against Luke Littler with Abby and Scott.